I guess so. I just want to do a video about the poison concoction Pathfinder build that I've been using. Right now I'm working on a build guide that covers every version of the concoctions. So I'll have that linked in the description. Right now we have the poison concoction Pathfinder and the explosive concoction Pathfinder complete on the build, and also a budget alternative in case there's nerfs in the upcoming patch. So I'm going to quickly go over the skill itself. So Poison Concoction is doing chaos damage on hit and applying a poison when it hits. Our eventual goal is to build into a crit version of this, so we are not going to focus on stacking a ton of poison stacks onto our enemies. We're just going to try to hit them as hard as possible, so the few poison stacks that we have do the most amount of damage possible. In terms of your skill gems, I will list them on the screen, but I will also go over them here, just so you can see the priorities of while you level. The cool thing about Poisonous Concoction is you don't have to worry about getting jewelers to get your support gem slots. That just happens naturally as you level. So at level 40, you get an additional one. At 65, you get another. And at 90, you get your final one. So you just have to level your character, and you can keep adding new supports to it. And you don't have to wait for a perfect jeweler drop or try to vow one yourself or anything like that. In terms of what you link to Poisonous Concoction, I have these set up in order, and I will also put them up on the screen. But you're going to do Scattershot, Chaos Infusion, Chaos Mastery, Close Combat, and Martial Tempo. These are really interchangeable. It just depends on what you need more. If you have enough attack speed already, you can do Close Combat first, or if you need the attack speed, do Martial Tempo first. Now, the other thing we're doing to help with our clear is we are using the Corpsewade Iron Greaves. These give you the skill Decompose, which is just going to poison enemies through dealing chaos damage equal to the max life of the corpse that's on the ground. So as you walk past corpses, they'll explode into poison damage that will do percent health damage to the enemies around them. So it scales very, very easily. Monster health continues to scale as you progress through the game, so it always gets stronger and stronger with the content that you're doing. And for those links, we're going to use Comorbidity, Deadly Poison, and Magnified Effect. Keep in mind that early on, as you level with this build, you're going to want to make sure that you don't get too high of a level of Decompose. The ones that start around level 6 or 7 are only 1 exalt. You can start with those and they'll be perfectly fine for all of the like normal content. Into Cruel, I'd say upgrade again and then upgrade when you get to maps when you're done with Cruel. That way you're not buying too many Corpsewade boots and wasting time. Just progress through the campaign as fast as you can. When you see that you need the damage, go ahead and upgrade the boots. So what you're going to need to make this work are the Widowhail Crude Bow paired with a quiver, along with the Corpsewade Iron Greaves. And of course you need a Pathfinder, so around level 22 is when you're going to be able to get the Poisonous Concoction skill from your first Ascendancy. That is in Act 2 at the Trial of the Sekimas. So incredibly annoying trial, but early on it is fairly easy. There's only a small amount of rooms you have to complete. You shouldn't have issue with this one, although the later ones can be very, very tedious. So up until you're able to complete your trials, just use Lightning Rod and Lightning Arrow to level. For the rest of the skills, we have our defensive skills. We are using Ghost Dance, Grim Feast, and Wind Dancer. So you're going to prioritize Wind Dancer and Grim Feast while you're mapping, and then you can switch off of Grim Feast and use Ghost Dance and Wind Dancer while you're killing bosses. Grim Feast is not much help while you're fighting bosses, because it requires a bunch of things to continue to die around you, so you can keep overflowing your energy shield. For utility skills, we're going to use Alchemist Boon. This will just give you flash charges since Poisonous Concoction uses your your mana flash charges instead of your mana. So you can see as I cast, nothing's happening to my mana, but my flash charges are going down. No matter the scenario, you pretty much always want Wind Dancer just because of its increases to evasion. Also, don't skip quality on this one because it does have a base 3 stages, but quality will get you the 4th stage for even more evasion. For utility skills, we're going to use Eye of Winter and Despair, since we are transitioning after level 60 into a crit-based build. Eye of Winter is going to be great to apply critical weakness, and then Despair is going to help us with our chaos damage. For the passive tree, I'm going to show you 4 The first one's for levels 1 through 22, and then 23 to 40, 41 to 60, and lastly I'll show you my character here for levels 60 to 90. And for the final passive tree, you are doing the crit transition, so you're just going to make sure to grab the crit nodes here, the diamond here, and the crit nodes here, along with filling out your tree with all of the chaos damage. There's the pure chaos node up here that you want to grab first of all the chaos nodes, because we need it for an interaction with Eye of Winter. Then you can go down here and get Dark Entries, which is the +1 to level of all chaos skills. For each of your jewel sockets, you're going to want to prioritize increased bonuses gained from equipped quivers, critical hit chance, and critical hit damage. And this final passive tree is going to be linked in the Mobalytics guide that I have in the description. So for Garen, I have 2 sets here. I have my original set that I used to get up to tier 12 maps completed. Then I had a bit of a damage fall off because I was using explosive concoction at the time. Then I made the switch to poisonous concoction with the gear I'm currently using. In terms of gear, you're going to be using the Widowhail crude bow along with a quiver that has +2 to the level of all projectile skills. I'll put up on the screen the other stats to prioritize when you're looking for a quiver, but that is the primary one. And right now there is an interaction with increased damage to bow skills working with poisonous concoction, even though it's an unarmed attack. That it's probably going to be nerfed, so I haven't included that. But if you want an additional boost to your damage, at least temporarily, you can get a quiver with that. Just don't over invest into it. So for your helmet, you're just going to prioritize as much energy shield as you can. For pretty much all of these pieces, you're also going to want to try to get maximum life and resistances. You'll need that as you progress through Cruel and through mapping, as because your resistances will be decreased as you progress. But getting a big energy shield roll pairs well with the subterfuge mask that we take on our passive tree. So for every max energy shield, we're going to get +2 to our evasion rating. Around 400 seems to be pretty comfortable. If you can get higher rolls, go for it, but it will get exponentially expensive. For boots, we're going to use our Corpsewade iron greaves. That's what gives us decompose, like we talked about earlier. For gloves, you just want a big evasion rating on your gloves. Get health if you can, and try to true up your resistances with your glove and rings. For your belt, life resistances, you'll get added utility by getting reduced flash charges used, so you can use 2 instead of 3 flash charges every time you cast, and also flash charges gained per second. For your rings, you're going to prioritize evasion rating, resistances, and increase to chaos damage. I'm still using my rings from when I was leveling with explosive concoction, which is why you see fire damage here. For your chest piece, you want to get as much evasion rating as you can. It's like your helmet. It pairs really well with Spectral Ward, and you'll get additions to your energy shield for every 12 evasion rating on your body armor. Eventually, you're going to want to switch to Queen of the Forest. This will help with your movement speed issue of only having 10% movement speed from the Corpsewade iron greaves. It is incredibly expensive, so you'll have to farm for a bit, but it will greatly increase your movement. But it should push you into the 50 to 70% movement speed range. Amulets only really need 2 things. You want to focus on the +3 to the level of all projectile skills, and there's an anointment you're going to target called Barbaric Strength that'll give you 45% increased critical damage bonus and +10 to strength. You won't need that right away. You can just focus on getting an amulet with decent stats and resists while you level. This just helps with increasing your damage in the end game. So that's going to be it, guys. Be sure to check out the Mobalytics guide I've linked in the description. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.